All right. Well, today is the day of days.
On the road again.
Feel like we're either an Amazon delivery driver or we're an over-the-road trucker. That's what it's sort of feeling like these days. Folks, good morning. It's early in the morning and we're not able to do the Bobo this morning because we've got to go get this update. There's been a lot of people asking what has happened to Remy.
Where is Remy? Where is Remy?
And for good reason, we haven't been able to bring you guys that update. But today, we definitely are. Jellica, you've actually been in contact with Remy a little bit, throughout the course of time, right?
Absolutely, man. I keep track with everybody that we featured on the show. I talk to him at least 2 times a week, man. At least.
That's good. One thing that we've learned, I guess more so as of late, is, you never really know how an individual is doing until you go and you see that person. So we think, there's a pretty good possibility that Remy is doing pretty good, but you never know. We don't honestly know. We're going to find out today, as will all of you. We're getting ready to bring you guys the update on Remy. And the big reason why we haven't been able to bring you guys that update until now is because of the fact that Remy is pretty far away. Remy has actually left. He's moved. He's gone. And today...
He up and left, yes.
Yeah, he up and left. And today we're going to go find out why and also, how he's doing. So, this is going to be a long ride. There's already a lot of traffic. And folks, today we're going to find out what happened to Remy. If we can ever beat this traffic. All right. We are almost at where Remy's at, and Jellico, that was a hell of a ride, wasn't it?
It kind of was, man. We were zoned out there, man. Wasn't very talkative either, man. We were just zoned out, man. It's a little early.
Listening to the music.
Jamming out, for real.
So Remy is out here. That's for damn sure. Remy is pretty far. Is it this one right here?
Man, you got me, bro.
You want to call him and let him know that we're here? It's actually a pretty nice little neighborhood.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Oh shoot, well, he might know we're here now. I wonder if he's awake.
He should be.
It's only 10 o'clock in the morning. Hello.
You're wearing a state shirt for real? Oh man.
Oh man, times are tough. How do we get in here?
Over there.
Oh. Remy, what's going on, stranger?
Hey, Joe.
Good Lord.
What's up, buddy?
The girls need a few minutes to get their faces on and do their thing. How you doing?
Right on, man. Doing good.
Remy, man, long time, brother. How you been?
Doing, Joe?
The whole world has been asking, what happened? What happened to Remy?
What happened to Remy? Remy moved to Williamsburg with his fiance.
Dude, ain't nothing wrong with that at all, man.
Not.
A lot of people thought it could be something bad. A lot of people, when I don't have anything to tell them, I just don't say anything. And,
Right.
I didn't know if it was my place to be able to say anything, but I do appreciate you being willing to allow us to come over here today and get this update with you.
Yeah, not a problem.
That's not the shirt you got released in, is
I
it?
thought it
No,
was.
no. This is not the shirt I got released in.
It kind of looks like it, but it's a good looking
No,
shirt.
the shirt they release you in now is khaki.
I know, I saw that the
I
other day.
remember the old shirts they released you in.
Yeah, the shirt that I got released in kind of looked like that as well.
No,
So-
this is not the shirt I got released in. It's just a button-down shirt that I got.
Dude, it feels like we were hunting for like Sasquatch.
I know, right?
And we found him. Folks, he lives.
I know. I've had a couple responses in the comment section. I try to say it. I can't reach everybody though. I just let them know that you were doing all right, man. And, because me and him have been communicating. But yeah, it's awesome that we get to come out here, take a little vacation. Come out here and hang out for a little bit.
Well, I know you said that your girl's getting ready and everything, so we're looking forward to talking with you and seeing what's been going on with you.
Yes, sir.
So Remy, I greatly appreciate you taking the opportunity to meet with us today and also show us where you're staying at and what's been going on with you.
Yeah, no problem, Joe.
It's been a long time since we've seen you, or I say a long time, but it's probably been a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, I was certainly concerned. You know, I didn't know what had happened. I didn't know if it was something that we did. And a lot of other people were asking,
No,
where's Remy?
It was not like that. I wasn't in the area. You know, it was kind of a whirlwind thing. Me and Steph got back together.
And Steph is?
My fiance. She was with me through the entire bid. You know, her and my dad held me down pretty good. And yeah, I greatly appreciate everything she's done for me. But we got back together, and it was kind of a whirlwind thing. We just got wrapped up. I got a job like 24 hours within being here because of the show.
So you're actually working right now too?
Yeah.
And talk a little bit about the work that you're doing.
Well, I work for a guy doing fences. I've done them before, but never full time. I make $11 an hour.
That's pretty good starting out.
Yeah, I get to pretty much set my own hours. I go to work around 10 o'clock, get off around 6 or 7. It's easy work, man, you know. We do a lot of aluminum fences, wooden fences, things of that nature.
Where we came to see you at, I mean, this is pretty far away from Virginia Beach.
I had to get out of the beach, man. Virginia Beach, I'm too well connected, and it's just a hot spot for me. I know too many people, man. I get in too much trouble down there. Steph knew that. And yeah, I had to get away from there.
And you know, that's something that we talk about on the show is when guys come home from prison, oftentimes where they're going back home to can be a temptation, could be definitely not a good environment for them. Though you had a decent spot with your father, ultimately living in that city probably wasn't going to be good for you.
No, for long term, it wasn't a good idea for me. Being as connected as I am down there, there's too many temptations for me, and if I remove the temptations from my life, I don't have the urges and the desires to fall back into my old routines.
And when you mention connected, you're talking about drug connections and things like that?
Yeah, things of that nature.
A lot of people have been asking, you know, what's been going on with you? Where are you? People were concerned that possibly it was something, you know, bad.
Yeah.
But getting with you today and getting this opportunity to see you for this first time, I mean, it definitely appears like you're doing really well.
Yeah, I'm trying, man. I've taken everything that I've learned, and I'm putting my best foot forward to survive and care for my family, and you know, just trying to be the good person that everybody knows I am, that I've never really showed people.
You know, let's refresh people a little bit on your story.
Okay.
You know, talk about how long that you served, and also talk about how long you've been home for now.
Let's see. I did almost 6 years. I got out April 29th. So I've been out, what? March, May 39th. So I've only been out like almost 2 months.
So within 2 months, you've got a much more stable environment to be living in.
Yes.
You've reconnected with your fiance and your child, and you're able to be the father that you've always wanted to be, I imagine.
Yes.
And what has it been like to be reconnected with your family?
Oh man, it is fantastic, dude. It feels great. You know, on my first bid, my wife at the time left me. I was young, stupid. I gave up the rights to my oldest child, which that hurts because I don't even get to see him now. I've talked to him since I've been home. Steph and her have a real good relationship.
Steph and your
ex-wife.
Really?
Yeah, but ultimately, she still holds a grudge, and she refuses to see that I've changed and let me see my son.
Well, you know, hopefully eventually that will change with
Hopefully.
you proving yourself out here in the world and continuing to do the right thing.
Right.
You were an individual that we really wanted to work with on After Prison Show. We got a chance to work with you to a small degree.
Yeah.
But ultimately, what you've done since being released is what you've done. That's got to provide you with a sense of accomplishment and motivation.
It is. It is. Like I said, Steph has been a big motivating factor in my life. I love the girl to death, man. She was there for me when I met her when I was down and out, had nothing, literally. I all I had was clothes on my back. I was homeless. I met her when I was homeless, and she took the time to care for me and show me that, you know, I could be a better person, that I wasn't a total scumbag. She helped me get clean for a little while. I mean, ultimately, I fell back into my old routine, and then I went to prison. But she rode with me through the bid. You know, she answered the phone, put money on the books, came to visit. You know, she was a good, solid support system to have. She's a good girl. She's pretty straight edge.
And I mean, you need that in your life. You don't need to be associating with any type of negative people. And I already know that that's another motivating factor for you right there. It's probably the biggest motivating factor for you right there, to stay on the straight and narrow and make sure.
Well, she gave me the chance to have a family again. You know, something that I ultimately lost because of my actions and my behavior. Getting high, running the streets. You know, I lost that. I lost what I had when I was in my 20s. And she's ultimately given it back to me. And she keeps me clean, man. You know, I don't go partying. I don't go out drinking. You know, I go to work. I come home. I spend time with her and Bobby. You know,
Bobby's the child.
Bobby's he's my adopted son. Me and her have an older child together that we are currently working on getting custody of. So that being said, she keeps me straight. She keeps me level-headed. She keeps me grounded, and I owe her the world for that.
With the fact that you moved pretty far away from Virginia Beach out here to Williamsburg,
right?
And your dad was a big-time supporter and ally in your corner. How did he feel about you leaving?
He ultimately supports my decisions. He was happy that me and Steph got back together. He's glad of the role that I've taken on. He supports me 100% in what I do. I talk to him every day. Well, almost every day. There's some days I don't talk to him, but you know, we communicate a lot. He's been very, very supportive in the whole situation. He's had my back 100%, just as much as Steph's had my back 100%. And he supported me coming here because he knew the temptations that I was facing out there in Virginia Beach on the streets.
I want to ask you this question, and I hope you'll be willing to answer this honestly, whatever the answer might be. But you know, since being released, there was a period of time where we weren't in contact with you. There was a period of time prior to us meeting you when you were released. You know, since being released, have you used, or have you obviously probably have had the temptation to want to use?
Well, I ain't gonna lie to you. I relapsed one time, and it was real bad.
Was this prior to us meeting you or afterwards?
This was afterwards. This was one of the reasons I left. Yeah, I relapsed, and it was real bad.
Talk to us a little bit about that situation, if you would be willing to.
Well, as you know, I'm a 20-year heroin addict, and being the situation that I'm in with my ex-wife and my oldest son, that is a touchy situation for me. And when she pretty much turned a cold shoulder to me, I don't turn outwards. When I get angry, I turn inwards, and I self-destruct. And for me, my only coping mechanism that I know real well that works for me is to use. So that's what I did. I used. And I told Steph about it, and she said, no, we're not having that. She said, I'm coming to get you.
And that was ultimately what led to you leaving Virginia Beach to come here.
Yeah. I told my dad. That I used. And he wasn't happy about it, but you know, he understands where I'm coming from and the place my mind is at. He understands the relationship that me and my ex-wife had, and we were together for 12 years, married for 4 of those, and it was, that whole situation was very difficult for me, going through that divorce, and being that we were together for so long, it was very hard for me to let go of, and that fueled my addiction even more back, before I ultimately got locked up.
I appreciate your honesty for being willing to talk about that and admit that you have struggled since getting released.
Yeah.
But since moving here?
Since moving here, like I said, Steph is a very good support system for me. I got her and my dad in my corner. She's with me all the time, 24/7, we're together. It's, like I said, I go to work and I come home and I take care of my family. That's what I do. It keeps me clean, keeps me sober.
When you left to come here, I had heard that you had left the area, and I was concerned.
Right.
I was concerned about probation. And, talk to us about what you've done.
I got here and I called my probation officer and told him, look, I can't stay in Virginia Beach no more. Not for lack of trying on my dad's part, but ultimately, I wasn't planning on staying at my dad's forever. Me and his landlord don't get along. She don't like me. So on the second hand, to avoid that confrontation was another good motivating factor for me to get out of there. My dad opened up his house to me. It's a 1-bedroom apartment, man. It's small. For 2 grown men to live there is...
It was tight. We saw
it. Was.
Your dad was sleeping in the living room.
Yeah, he gave his bedroom up to me, and he didn't have to do that. And I appreciate everything that he's done for me and everything that he does for me.
You would end up leaving, and you would end up getting probation transferred up here.
Yeah, I got my probation transferred up here immediately. It was an emergency transfer. It went in like that.
Well, I'm glad that you were able to handle that responsibility the way that you needed to and got everything squared away with that. There's a few more things that I want to talk about with you with this update. We're going to get a chance to meet your fiance. I think that's really going to add to the conversation about how you're doing now and what life was like having a relationship while you're locked up. It's something that people know is going to be trying, but to be able to hear firsthand how that situation is, I think is really going to add a lot to this conversation.
Right.
But before we get to that, we did bring some packages, and it's not much. I did open one of these packages because I thought that there was a smell coming from my house. I thought it was in this package. I had no idea what it was, but this was sent to us from an awesome fan of After Prison Show. I'm not sure who sent this.
Oh, cool.
And there might even be a,
Oh, yeah.
And look, that's like a foreman hard hat right there, ain't it? Like, don't the foremen wear white? This says, hi, Remy. I hope you get this job, Fat Tony. Well, Remy does have a job now, and I'm not sure if you guys wear hard hats on that job, but you never know. Maybe there'll be a job that comes up where you do
need one.
And I don't got no idea what this is. I don't even want to speculate. But that was sent for you as well. I'm pretty sure I got an idea what this is, and I don't know who sent it.
If it's a rubber penis, dude, I'm going to be very upset.
I don't think that that's what it is, but good guess, though. I'm quite sure it's some kind of...
Oh, safety glasses.
I am surprised.
Actually, I could use these because I use assault all
And
day.
there's a DeWalt right there, too, so those are nice.
Those are really nice.
Real
Who sent
quick.
this?
I want to say it was probably
California Tools?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this was Fat Tony as well.
Well, thank you, Fat Tony. I appreciate it.
Dude, I did not think that that's what was going to be in this box right here, but I'm glad that it is.
You put that back.
Real quick, I don't want to spend a lot of time on this conversation.
Okay.
I do want to ask, though, I know people are going to ask about it. You know, how are you doing? How's your mouth doing, man? It's healed, I imagine.
Oh, yeah, it's healed. I got rid of it.
So, medication, and
yeah.
Did it take you a long time to get rid of it?
No, it took me about 4 days.
All right. So moving on, I wanted to share these gifts with you. I greatly appreciate, again, the hospitality of not only you, but your family as well.
Right.
And I definitely would like to talk with you and your fiance.
Okay, we can do that.
So I want to start by saying I do greatly appreciate the both of you being willing to talk on camera and share more of Remy's story ultimately. But this particular part, I do want to focus on the story of the two of you. And Steph, would you introduce yourself for us?
I'm Stephanie, and I'm Dylan's fiance.
Dylan. I forgot that was your real name.
Yeah.
I kept calling you
His
Corso.
middle name, not his real first name, but his middle name, yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about how long you guys have been together.
Off and on for 7 years.
So you guys were pretty much off and on throughout the entire time when Remy was incarcerated.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate your willingness to talk about this, because I think that this really showcases what a relationship is like when somebody is serving time. And you know, Steph, talk a little bit about what it was like while Dylan was serving time.
It was really, really hard for me, basically. There's no other words to describe it besides it was hard.
What do you think the hardest part was?
Him being on the inside and me being on the outside.
You know, prior to him going in, I'm sure he was a support system for you. You two pretty much were there for each other, and then all of a sudden he's gone. So I can't imagine that being easy. Throughout the time that he was locked up, I imagined that you would visit him and talk a little bit about what those experiences were like.
Well, I only visited him a couple of times due to like transportation and my ID being lost and stuff like that.
Did you find that you guys would argue a lot more because of him being locked up?
Yes.
And you know, I would imagine, I'm no Dr. Phil, but I would imagine, you know, that comes with the trying turbulence that a situation like this could add to a relationship.
Yeah.
You know, what has it been like to have Remy home now?
It's felt good. I was worried for when he got out that he wasn't gonna come home to me.
But he did.
But he-
And you guys are back together. You guys have a family now. Talking with Remy, Dylan, his real name, you know, we hear how much you mean to him and how much of a motivating factor you are in the family is for him to continue doing the right thing. And, you know, what does it mean to you to see him out here and to see him doing good?
I'm proud of him.
Prior to him getting locked up, I can imagine that you probably saw him during some pretty bad times as well.
We were going through some bad times together. We never did it separate. It was together as a team.
Mm-hmm.
Would you be willing
Always
to
together.
share some of what those bad times were like?
Well, like I said, we met when I was homeless. I had nothing but a heroin addiction. And sad to say, I kind of introduced her to that lifestyle, and it's not one of my proudest moments at all. I kind of drug her down a bad road, and she was a trooper, man. She put up with a lot of crap that she never had to put up with. She didn't have to be there. She didn't have to go through that, but she ultimately helped me get away from heroin.
But that was in the past.
Yeah, that was in the past.
And now 6 years separated from that, here you are back together and clean.
Yeah.
The both of you. You know, Steph, I want to talk a little bit about what the time when Dylan was away was like, especially for you, because this is a perspective we don't usually get a chance to hear. And if you would be willing to talk about this, you know, talk about how hard it was for you to remain there for him.
It wasn't hard at all, for real, because I love him.
Were there ever times when you guys would not be together during the time that he was locked up?
Yes, the last 4 months of his bid.
And, you know, what was the reasoning behind that? Arguing?
You
I
can be honest.
got into a situation where basically when I got out of jail, I didn't have anywhere to go, so I got with somebody, and I ended up getting pregnant with Bobby, and he was a narcissist. And so he decided to email him and tell him a whole bunch of stuff that I should have told him, basically. And so we didn't speak for 4 months.
This is something that, I didn't know, and Remy, I apologize for opening up this can of worms.
Okay.
But what was it like for you to receive that email? I can imagine devastating.
Yeah. Devastating is a good word. There was a lot of emotions tied to it. Anger, jealousy, sadness. I went through a bout of depression real bad. Jelly was there. There's a lot of people that, I don't open up to people, not normally. I open up to Steph, but I don't open up to people around me, especially not when I'm in that setting. I'm not gonna tell the next man, well, this is what's going on, because I don't need to hear the crap. It was hard for me. It was really hard for me. And I think what hurt me the most was the fact that I heard it through a third party and not from her. But I came to terms with that, and we worked through that. We found common ground and have been able to stand on that since then. I don't hold nothing against her for it. She did what she had to do to survive. Anybody would have done the same thing in that situation. Like I said though, it wasn't easy, but I dealt with it in my own way. I compartmentalized it eventually and shut it away and dealt with it when I came home, when it was easier for me to deal with, when I could deal with it face to face with her and work things out with her, because ultimately that's who they needed to be worked out with.
I want to mention this. I greatly appreciate the both of your willingness to open up about this situation. And I want to say this to you especially, Remy. This really goes to show the character of you, to be able to handle a situation like this and to come home, reestablish, reconnect with Steph, to have this family with her, and to be just working toward the future.
Yeah.
It really speaks to your character.
I'm kind of old school. I get a lot of things from my grandma. When it comes to dealing with the women in my life, I took after my grandma a lot. I'm kind of old school, old fashioned. I believe that ultimately love will conquer all, and I love her, and there's nothing more that I could say about that. She is my world, and she's given me a chance at a new beginning, and I owe her the world for that.
And Steph, to you, I want to say especially, life happens, and you would end up finding yourself locked up, and you came home, and nobody can blame you for this. This is just things that happen in life. But for you to be willing to work through this situation with Remy as well really speaks to your character also. And it's all about the here and the now. Things happen. You guys aren't the only people that these things happen to. These are the struggles that individuals face when you're in a relationship and somebody's locked up. And ultimately, the both of you would be locked up at one point. And I also want to say to you, it's a really amazing thing hearing how you want to keep Remy on the right track. You guys have this family. You guys really have an awesome thing, and you guys really feed off of each other to keep one another motivated. When we came over here today and we first met you for the first time, we can see the love. We can see the genuineness and the sincerity with this relationship. So I want to say, with all of that, I do greatly appreciate your willingness to open up about what the relationship has been like, and I wish you guys nothing but success moving forward.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
We're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Remy, I want to thank you for allowing us to come see and get this update with you.
Absolutely.
And in closing, I'd like to get some closing remarks from you. Anything that you would like to say about anything?
Well, I don't really care what people think of me or the situation that I'm in. If you've got your own opinion about it, that's fine. Keep it to yourself. I don't need to hear it. If you've got something negative to say, man, I don't need to hear it. If you've got something positive to say, by all means, man, speak your mind. The positivity is a good thing, and negativity, man, just needs to stay in its place. So that's about how I feel about that. I love my girl to death. I love my family, and I'm going to continue to support and do good for my family, no matter what people think. And I appreciate you giving me the time to put my story out there and letting people know that it can work. You can make something out of nothing, and you can do great things as long as you have the willpower and the mindset to do it. So